Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 8 of our Fundamentals of College Writing class. I'm going to give you an overview of some of the things we're going to be doing in class this week. There are only 4 tasks, as you'll see when you look at our agenda, but there are I have a couple sets of notes for you to read over, and there are several worksheets to complete. And I think the worksheets are fairly straightforward, but I have already received some questions about them. So I think I will briefly touch on each of those activities just to sort of give you an idea of how you will be approaching them. So first of all, here we have some notes on signal phrases. A signal phrase is something that you use in your writing before a quote or a paraphrase to signal or to indicate where the information is coming from. Anytime that you use someone else's ideas, even if you're putting it in your own words, you still need to acknowledge where that information is coming from. And one of the ways that we do that is through signal phrases. So I have some notes here on signal phrases, and there are some examples in this document for you to look at. I did make a note here. Um, this is not the first time we're going to be talking about signal phrases. I believe there's a very small part of week 8 in Comp 1 that mentions signal phrases. And if I am correct, there's also a part of Comp 1 in week 9 that looks at signal phrases. So you will be learning about signal phrases several times. This is partially just because it's important. It's an important thing for you to master. And it's my hope that the repetition will help. And also by kind of exposing you to different examples or different explanations of what a signal phrase is, that one of those explanations will stick with you. Next, we have notes on what is called the sandwich method. The sandwich method is just a way to write paragraphs. It's not the only way to write paragraphs. There are multiple, but in my actually, I just misspoke. The sandwich method is a method for integrating quotes. I was thinking of a different device, but this is notes on how to what we call set up a quote, which involves letting your reader know some context about the quote, properly inserting the quote into your writing, and then fully explaining or analyzing that quote. That's what the sandwich method is about. And that should be useful to you in writing project 3 because you will be quoting from your sources to back up your ideas. Next, we have our first assignment here, which is practice citing sources. This right here is the worksheet itself. You'll need to download that. And then this document is, you will need this for one of the prompts in this document. So you'll need to download both. And this is just a little note on citing sources. Um, MLA is pretty important for this class, especially once you start doing research. If you're not citing things correctly, it puts you in danger of plagiarizing, which can be some pretty serious consequences for. So that's why this week we're really focusing on MLA, how to use quotes, how to properly format things. So it's probably not going to be the most exciting week in fundamentals, but it's all helpful information. Anyways, I'm not opposed to you using a citation generator. I think those are useful tools, but it should be treated as that. It should be treated as a tool and not the answer itself. In my experience, I've never seen a citation generator that is accurate 100% of the time. Even the citations that you find from the library themselves aren't always accurate. So, in my experience, it's useful to know how to do MLA citations by yourself. And you don't need to have it memorized. You just kind of need to know how to find the information you need, how to um, locate the correct bibliographic information, and sort of how to put all those things together. So that's what we're focusing on here. Let's take a look at this worksheet. So what you have here, you have several different types of sources. you will need to go to that source, gather the information that you need, and then create a works cited entry or a bibliographic citation for them. So first one here is a journal in a database. You will find this by copying and pasting this DOI into your browser, your internet browser, and that will take you to the source. And once you're there, you will need to locate all the MLA information, so author, publisher, publication date, all of that. And for help, because I don't expect anyone to have this memorized, if you go to page 566 in your textbook, it will show you how to properly cite a scholarly journal in a database. Next, we have a YouTube video. So click on the link, go to the video, and then take a look at page 583 in your textbook, which will show you how to cite a YouTube video. Number 3 is a book, and you'll see here it says see handout. So that's what this is. This is some information from a book. It's called Summer of Blood. It's by the author Dan Jones. You will need the information in that handout in order to properly cite this book. And here are the page numbers you can go to look at to help with that. And here's same thing. This one's just an online article. See page 579. Next, your assignment for Friday is a using quotes assignment. Let's take a look at that. Okay. So each of these sections has you focus on a different aspect of properly using quotes. So this first section is on punctuating short quotations. This one is on punctuating and formatting long quotations. Next, we have removing words from quotes. And then finally, we have adding to or changing words in quotes. And you'll see in parentheses next to each of these things are the page numbers in your textbook where you can go to look at examples and to see an explanation. I'm guessing that you will not be able to do this worksheet unless you go look at the pages in your textbook. Here, the first one here, you need to correctly punctuate the quotes below. Anything in bold is a quote and needs quotation marks around it. Anything in italics is a quote inside of a quote, which there's a different way of punctuating a quote if it is inside of a quote. So for each of these 4 sentences below, you only need to add quotation marks and end punctuation, such as periods and question marks. So this first one, Al Capone, often considered the most notorious gangster in U.S. history, died on January 25th, 1947 from complications from syphilis. So your job is to properly punctuate this quote. And you'll be doing that for each of the bolded sections. And you'll see here, Scarface in number 2 is in italics, which means that this is a quote within a quote. And these pages should show you how to properly do that. Next, we have punctuating and formatting a long quote. This is basically the same deal as up here. Your job is to just take this quote and properly format it according to MLA. Punctuating long quotes and punctuating short quotes are different. There's a different way of going about doing it. So take a look at your field guide for that information. Here you will be removing words. So anything in bold needs to be replaced with an ellipses. And you'll find some examples of that on page 482 in your field guide. And then finally, you will be replacing the bolded words here with words that have roughly a similar meaning. And for an explanation of that, you can also see page 482. Down here, let me see here. This is, did I include notes on the sandwich method? Yes, I did. Okay, yeah. So here you will be practicing using the sandwich method. And here's an explanation of what I need you to do, and you can take a look at the notes on the sandwich method that I included on Blackboard. Okay, let's take a look at our next assignment. For Sunday, you have some more MLA practice. I'm going to go ahead and download this. So up here, you just have an example of a works cited page. And then the activity actually starts down here. For this first section, using the rules of MLA format in the works cited page above, correct the sentences below. Type your revised sentences underneath each of the original sentences. So here, each of these things is not in correct MLA format. Your job will be to rewrite these sentences and put them in MLA format. And the readings that the notes that I've given you in fundamentals, as well as the readings that I gave you in Comp 1, should tell you everything you need to know in order to accurately do this. So yeah, for each of these, you'll just be rewriting the sentence using the information provided, and you'll be putting it in MLA format. This next section is a quiz on plagiarism. Just indicate whatever your response is. So here you're underlining the correct answer. Underline the statements that do constitute plagiarism. So this is testing your knowledge on plagiarism a little bit. And then down here, you have a few questions about paraphrasing, quoting, and summarizing. So this is the passage that you'll be looking at here. For each sentence below, identify the form of citation being used for the passage above by underlining the correct answer. In an essay examining the relationship of humanity and society, Rousseau asserts that man is born free and everywhere he is in chains. So is that a paraphrase, a quote, or a summary? And you will go from there. Finally, you have an excerpt here from this is not a real piece of writing. This is all just made up. But you'll be using this little excerpt here, both of these paragraphs, in order to answer these questions. And these will tell you, so number 11, why does a parenthetical reference in line 2 include only the page number? So you would need to go up here, take a look at line 2 right here. And you'll see that it includes only the page number. So for number 11, you need to explain why does it include only the page number. This next one, why is there a parenthetical reference with a page number in the middle of the sentence in line 5? So we go up here, we count lines 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just now noticing that the line numbers are off a little bit. So I will need to correct that. But once I fix that issue, the rest of these should be fairly straightforward. Just go to the line that it is indicating and answer the question to the best of your ability. I think that is everything for this week. It's kind of a lot. There's a lot going on. It's understandable if some of these worksheets are maybe a bit confusing or hard to follow. So if you encounter any issues, just let me know and I'll help you out.